Welcome to Community Forum. My name is Roy Cohen, and I'll be hosting this week's show. And we're going to be talking about the Stoughton Public Library. It's one of our newly renovated facilities here in town. We tell you a little bit about it. Stoughton Public Library is a member of the Old Colony Library Network, consisting of 29 member libraries in which you may use your Stoughton Old Colony Library Network library card. The Stoughton Public Library strives to provide a welcoming environment with a diverse collection of materials, educational services, and enrichment programs for all ages, backgrounds, and abilities. The library serves as an integral part of the community, providing an opportunity for all to inform and educate themselves, promoting lifelong learning, recreational reading, and cultural advancement. This handicapped accessible facility is located at 84 Park Street in Stoughton. The phone number is 781-344-2711. They're open on Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And obviously it's closed on Sundays. The Stoughton email is stoughton.org/library. And with us today, we have the following individuals: Josh Alslin, he's the Adult Services Reference Librarian. We have Amy Dean, Children's Librarian. Stacy Vachers, she's the Children's Librarian. Lauren Bergman, Young Adult Technology Librarian. It's a tough title. And Christine Yacobucci, she's the Outreach Services Coordinator. And now that we're beyond that, let's get into some of the meat of the discussion. What are some of the upcoming programs at the library in various departments, Stacy? Maybe you can start off with that one.
I will. All right. So Amy and I are the two children's librarians, and each week we have 4 different story times that are available. On Wednesday evenings, we have a preschool story time at 6:30. We have a all ages family story time Thursday mornings. We have a virtual story time on Friday mornings, and every Saturday we also have a preschool story time. Then monthly, we have things such as a little Lego club for kids with Duplos. We have an older kids Lego club for, traditional Legos. And what else do we have? We have upcoming in December, a ton of different programs. We have a Hanukkah story time in partnership with Temple Israel and Sharon. We've got a special virtual Polar Express pajama story time. We have a ton of different things coming up during school vacation, including dropping crafts that anybody is welcome to come to. We have a New Year's Eve party for the little ones on the 30th. And we've also got a special Small Singers and Shakers concert with Stacey Lake, who's very popular around here, for everybody to get, a fun concert going. All sorts of different programs in December. We are very busy. We have one of our most popular programs, which is our gingerbread program. It's actually full. Within 2 hours, we had 45 kids signed up once we opened up registration. That just shows you how popular it is. So the children's room will be happening in December. We hope you'll come see us. You can sign up for all of those online at our website via EventKeeper. You can always give us a phone call and we're happy to register you. Or you can just come in person and we'll help you out. All right, what do you think, Lauren? Maybe you could tell us some of the teen things?
All right. So in the teen space, we have the teen area open from after school until about 5 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. Then we have a monthly teen volunteer council, so teens can get leadership skills, but they can also get hours for community service as well. And our gingerbread house program is currently full as well. That's very exciting. And we tend to have someone come in from like the outside organization that will do an event. So upcoming in December, we have a dance studio coming in to do intro to hip hop dancing. So just a few of our things we have for the teens right now.
Okay, who's next?
Well, we do have lots of adult programs coming up as well. We have some history lectures with Dr. Gary Highlander, who used to teach at Stoughton High. Some film history programs. We're doing one on World War II films coming up. And we've been working a lot lately with the Historical Society. We just had a very successful history of Harris Pond, where we had people both on Zoom and here in the library. The History of Bay Road program will be towards the end of January also, which should be very popular. Joe Blansfield from the Historical Society, tracing Bay Road, one of the oldest continuously used roads in the Commonwealth. So that's some of the things that we're coming up with the adult program, but also genealogy, history programs, job search workshops, all kinds of things to help folks out and to entertain.
Excellent.
And for outreach, I actually do a couple of adult programs as well here at the library and virtually. We do a monthly adult book discussion. So that's the first Wednesday evening of every month. We also do adult card making typically every month. That's, it's usually the second Saturday from 10 to 12. Both require registration on EventKeeper. The other programs I do are actually off-site at senior housing or at the Council on Aging, like a short story discussion program. That's at the Council on Aging on the third Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. and at different locations like La Civita Court and other senior housing on different days.
Very good. We must include the seniors.
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay, anybody else? A little description of the outreach program besides what we just mentioned. How extensive is it?
So essentially it is me bringing the library to people who can't get out of their homes. So it's for any Stoughton resident who finds themselves homebound for a period of time. And for the most part, that's seniors. But I deliver any library material that you can get here, I bring to them. They can either tell me, I want the newest James Patterson book, or they can tell me I like mystery, and then I pick out the books for them. It also, one of the biggest parts, and probably the part I like best about my job, is the friendly visit. I've gotten to meet so many wonderful people. So with COVID, we can adopt that to a contactless delivery if we need to. But, and again, the programming, like I talked about, doing the programming at their locations, like West Stoughton Village and the Copley and Arbors and all those places, so that people are getting the same access to the library, just on, I'm bringing it to them.
I'm assuming that the library was still functioning even though it was closed to the public during the pandemic. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can touch on that if you'd like.
Sure,
and everybody can chime in if they want to, if I miss something. But yeah, that was quite a change for us to go through. We were working from home for a little while, and then when the staff came back into the building, we were working on split shifts, so we had two schedules. We had Schedule A and Schedule B, so the staff was split into two. That was really difficult for us to kind of have half staff on each day, but we did it, and it was actually safer that way. But we changed our services as far as what we could offer, since we were open to the staff was in the building, but the library was closed to the public still. We started curbside pickup, and that was immensely popular. We just had so many people using that service, and I think they would still use it now, but we're not doing that now that we're reopened. But that was one of the biggest services we offered during COVID. And then also we had a pickup printing service, so contactless printing. So patrons would email us their printing that they needed, and we would put that out curbside pickup for them. And also we allowed patrons to borrow Chromebooks. So if they needed to borrow a computer, because we have a lot of people that use the library come to use our computers, we would lend them computers. So that was another great resource that we had. And also book bundles became very popular during that time. Those were things that, parents or teachers reached out to us for. I just want a pile of books, or I need a particular topic for my class. Can you guys help me put this together? So Stacy and I have done a lot of those during the pandemic. And I think Lauren and even Josh has done a couple, and Christine, that's kind of what she does all the time, curating books for people. But that's something that was really fun for us because we, see the books firsthand. And when we were working that closely with the patrons, we could really pick and choose exactly what they wanted, which was nice. We are open again now, our full hours. The staff's all back in the building working together again, which we were so happy about because it was almost a year that we didn't work together as a team. And we have a really great team here. So we're all happy to be back here. We're working our full hours again. We have full services, so we don't offer the curbside pickup or the printing pickup anymore, but most people are still, coming in and using all the regular services. We still do book bundles. People really liked those. So it's just very convenient for parents with young children and teachers to come in and grab the stack of books and go. So that's still something that we're doing a lot. And I just want to say that we have to really give a lot of credit to our circulation staff because they're the ones that were, the backbone of running all of the curbside pickup and the printing. They're not here today to represent the library, but they're the ones that you see behind the main desk every day. So they really worked hard on that.
Did you folks do much with the Zoom?
Yeah, we still are. As I mentioned earlier, we're still doing some of our programs via Zoom. One of the things that we really pivoted on during the pandemic was we started doing a lot of take and make programs. We still do that to some extent. So during, for example, school vacation, we had almost 200 bags of crafts that kids could pick up to bring home and do crafts with their families. Just a little bit ago, we had a mandala program via Zoom. So all the kids that signed up got a paint kit and a piece of wood to make an ornament out of, and we all did it together via Zoom. So we're still doing a mix of in-person and virtual because, some people aren't able to vaccinate yet. They don't feel comfortable for whatever reason. So we're trying to make sure as the community center, we can reach everyone in the community, whether it's coming in or doing it via Zoom. We're trying to make sure there's a place for everybody in the community.
Does the library have a bookmobile?
No, we don't. Yeah.
Well, I can probably speak to that.
Christine is the bookmobile.
Yeah.
That's right.
So technically the outreach service isn't considered a bookmobile because a bookmobile is something that you physically walk into and select your books from there. So
Right.
Instead you get me, who is like the book Uber, I guess, right? So I bring it to them instead of them picking it off of a bus or a van.
I know I've seen some around. There are some big units. Like
I've driven one in a previous job. A little scary.
A little scary. By the way, I meant to bring up the subject of. I understand that there's one of the people important in this particular facility is retiring January 14th. Do we know about that?
Right. Our director, Pat Bassler, she's been here for over 24 years. She is retiring in January, which is a big change for the library, but we're celebrating every day that we still have Pat here and enjoying her. And we hope the next director will be somebody who can be great for the staff and for the public and bring
Right.
great things to Stoughton.
I just can't believe that she's put up with all the aggravation of revitalizing that facility. And as soon as it's up and running, she's gone. It just
Believe it or not, we've been open for 3 years, though. The building has been here, of course, closed for a while in between. But yeah, it took her 10 years to get the building built. So perseverance for sure.
Absolutely. A big round of applause for Pat.
Yeah.
And she set us up for success, most definitely, to carry it forward.
Yeah, I know it's winter out and it's kind of chilly out there, but you have a summer reading program in order?
We do. We start planning right about now. Stacy and I already have a lot planned for next year. But our summer reading program is something that we offer now for all ages. So this was the first time we did it this past year for all ages. So the children's program goes from birth up to grade 6. The teen program goes from grade 6 through 12. And then now that we have one for adults and seniors too. So it's really neat. We're all using an online software now called Beanstack. It's a really neat way to track reading. So for us in the children's department, we always have a brainstorming meeting with the Stoughton Public Schools. We plan everything with them, which is a great partnership that we have. We used to do 2 separate things, and then we came together one day and we said, why are we doing this? Let's, do this as a group. So now we partner with the schools. It's a lot more streamlined. So all the Stoughton Public Schools kids usually register every summer, and we have a lot of different events that we tie into that. So we usually have a summer reading kickoff with a special event. Last year we had a magic story artist, Yasu Ishida. He was a Japanese story artist. We've been trying to focus a lot more on diversity. So we also had our finale was Li Lu, a Chinese acrobat. So those were some of the highlights of last year's program. We also work with the recreation department in Stoughton. We do arts in the park in the summer every Monday at the South School. So we have a different performance there. And that's a really great partnership. We get a lot of participants for that. But the children from birth up to grade 6 in our section can log the minutes they read, and every so many minutes they earn badges, and the badges earn them a raffle ticket so they can enter for prizes. We offer all different cool prizes. We had altitude trampoline park prizes last year, Dunkin' Donuts gift cards, Amazon gift cards, book bundles that we offered, which were basically prize packs of books and toys. And it's a really fun program. And we hope that we get even more people this year. We had about 600 signups in the children's department last year. So I don't know if Lauren or the adult services want to talk about the first time doing their summer reading this year, or Lauren wants to talk about how her program is a little bit different than ours, but it was a really great summer last year.
Lauren?
All right, so with the teen program, this year it was a little bit different. We did like a hatching program, so every minute they read would go towards their journey of hatching an egg that would appear on a path on Beanstack. So we try to make the theme based off of what the summer reading theme is. So next year is to be determined with how it's going to turn out, because with the teen department, we collaborate with other teen librarians on different ideas too. So we also have prizes similar to what Children's has with the gift cards and everything. And like this past year, we had like little dinosaur clamp giveaways and things like that. So it's a lot of fun.
Great.
And then
What about
the adults?
field trips? You have field trips every so often for the kids or for the adults?
Well, no field trips, but local things. So this, for the first time, we did a summer reading program for adults, which was great. And part of that was focusing programming on the outdoors. So Dwight McCarran from the Historical Society led a bunch of hikes in local trails. And we had a bird photographer, and we had some landscape painting. So that was kind of the theme. And then as the folks recorded the books that they were reading, they entered different contests, and we wanted to support local establishments. So the gift cards to, the restaurants and the businesses in town were the prizes. So we've kind of made it all Stoughton local, if you will.
I do want to touch on field trips. We do do a lot of field trips in the children's department, and I think Lauren's done some as well for the middle school. When throughout the year we do library cards. Stacy and I do all the first grades, and I think Lauren was doing those as well with the middle school. So the goal is to have every child in Stoughton to have a library card. So we would go into the schools and we do a field trip to the schools, but also at the end of the year, a lot of the schools come and do a field trip here with us. So a lot of the elementary schools will walk here, and we do a tour of the library, and we do a scavenger hunt. And we also do other things with the schools locally, mostly Stoughton Extended Day and the Jones Preschool, because they're so close. We've done monthly story times where they walk here. And we also have the Stoughton Extended Day. They have a summer camp program. So they usually come here once a week and pick out books and enter their, raffle tickets for the summer reading program and things like that. So that's always really fun for us to do those field trips and see the kids in person.
Mm-hmm. And actually, Amy, I can piggyback on field trips. And pre-COVID, I actually had the arbors would come and do field trips here. So the residents, the arbors is fortunate enough to have a bus, a miniature, a smaller bus, and they would take residents, bring them here, and I would meet them and help them pick out books. So not only would I bring books to their residents, they would get out, and it was an excursion for them as well. So hopefully, we'll be able to do that again soon.
You might want to mention what the Arbors, what that facility is.
So Arbors is an assisted living. So I've done programs there in the past with the seniors that live there. With COVID, that has stopped, and I just do individual to their residents. I just drop off the books individually. We don't do group programming right now. Again, and the field trips. Hopefully, those will, when things clear up, we'll be able to do those again.
I was just thinking, do you have facilities there for the visually impaired?
So we do offer. I'm in charge of the large print book collection and the audiobook collection. So that is partially, what we have for visually impaired. We also provide magnifying devices. One we have is called the Octalec. So it almost looks like a TV screen that will enlarge what you put underneath it. So
Yeah.
say someone needs help writing checks or reading the newspaper. It's very handy for that. And we lend those as well as having one on site.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
That does. Do you have a setup in there where people who can volunteer to come in and read books to those who would need that help?
We don't do that on site, although it's a great idea. I do, when I do the short story program for certain sites, for example, the Arbors or the Copley, I would read the story to the residents there, and then we would discuss it at other sites like the Council on Aging. When we do the short story program, they receive the story first, read it on their own, and then we just discuss it.
Okay. Are you, do you folks look for volunteers for any specific purpose in the library, such as working with kids or doing the reading, book reading? Do you have any volunteer needs?
So in the children's department, we use a lot of volunteers at our some of our special events. So we use a lot of teen volunteers. So Lauren kind of spearheads, collecting the applications for the teen volunteers. And a lot of our, our patrons need volunteer hours for, honor society, things like that. And so we use usually grades 6 and up to help us with the younger children's programs. We offer our drop-in crafts, like Stacy had mentioned. We do that every vacation week, and it's always a lot of work. So it's a really fun way for those teen volunteers to get their hours in. So the children's department is always looking for volunteers to help with those kinds of things. We also do monthly STEM and STEAM. We haven't kept back up with those for the monthly ones yet, but we're starting to get back into doing those every couple of months. So we always need help with those events, and it's a really great way for them to, get exposure to what we're doing here at the library, early literacy and science-based programs. And if they, want to work with younger children, it's a really, really fun event for them to do that.
So another opportunity for teen volunteers is we have a teen volunteer council, and it was formerly our teen advisory board, and it's a chance for the teens to get the leadership opportunity and to get their voice out so that we have more programs of what they want in the library. And another option would be to attend events and do a review on them. So again, to try to figure out what teens are looking for and to make sure we're on the right path. So those are a couple of more opportunities they have.
What about foreign language programs? You have residents who don't really have a good handle on English. Do you have anything along that line?
We have a chapter of the Literacy Volunteers of Massachusetts, with a very large program where we have tutors who are trained to work one-on-one and in group conversation groups with folks learning English. That's headed up by Smidar Gkow and Sandy Government. So they do wonderful work and have helped a lot of people learn English here in Stoughton.
And they also offer citizenship classes, which is great.
Oh yeah. Are we having any Afghan citizens in this area? They sent them up here for new residents?
I haven't heard anything from them about that yet.
Well, you read in the news that they are shipping plane loads up into this area. Just wondering if Stoughton is on the receiving end. Stoughton has a unique history. I don't know how many years old it is now. Was it about 300 years old? Where can we learn about Stoughton history? Well,
I'm actually sitting in our local history room, which used to be a caged off area in the old building. And here we have a wonderful room. I don't know if you can see a little bit behind me here. But we have things like town records, yearbooks, old newspapers, family histories, pictures of historic homes, maps, almost anything you can think of that is very Stoughton related. So folks make appointments to come with me to come in and either have help in the room or to use the room. We have the newspaper, whatever it's called throughout the years, the Sentinel, the Journal. We have it going back on microfilm to 1863 and in print to 1877. And so a lot of help from David Lambert getting this collection from the Historical Society, getting this organized before we moved out of the old building. But the biggest need for folks is doing genealogy research, and not all just people that are here. A lot of times I get emails from folks who want to trace somebody from, that passed away 70 years ago or 40 years ago. And, whether it's looking for an obituary or town records, or even a story about how somebody passed away, we can usually find it. I've spent a lot of time on that microfilm machine. And we can send the print information right from the computer to folks who are looking for things. And occasionally we have people who come and do their family histories and spend weeks here. Bob Ribello, one particular person who traced his family back into the 20s when they came over from the Azores. So, we also have the yearbooks. Here's a particular one from 1968. And we had the Boston Public Library a few years back digitize the whole collection, including the ones we were missing that we got from the high school and from the Historical Society. So, we do have a lot of folks who are interested in history. And like I said, working with the Historical Society has been wonderful. And we're going to be doing more of that as well.
That's nice. Do you have old tapes of shows that were on the local cable?
We don't have that. I'm not sure who has that. Might want to talk. We have a new station manager at the SMAC named Narc Lind. Maybe he can look through the archives, but that's not something we have here.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm
Do you know what
sorry.
I wanted to add, Roy? Is just as far as genealogy goes, and Josh can speak to this more, but we have databases that help with those types of projects or searches. So I know that there's tutorials online, so Josh may be able to speak to that more, but we're very lucky here.
We have ancestry.com. We've had it for in-building use for years, and folks come in, but right now, actually, they've been very generous to libraries by offering it where you can just do it remotely during the pandemic. So that's gotten us a lot more action on that. But yeah, we have something called Niche Academy, which is listed as tutorials on our webpage, www.stoughton.org/library. And if you click on that, it'll drop down with great tutorials on everything from Ancestry, PowerPoint, Hoopla, which is one of our services that provides music and movies. So yeah, there's a lot of training going on just at the click of a button.
Do you have movies that you show on a regular basis there?
We don't show movies, but we have in the past, but not many, because the turnout wasn't great. But what we have is a local gentleman by the name of Frank Mendoza, who is a film historian. And every month he does a program with a different theme. So this month coming up is World War II films. Then we have Warren Beatty does an annual Oscar show. So we talk about movies a lot, but we also have a lot of movies that you can check out for kids, adults, teens, TV shows, travel videos. Hopefully we'll be getting a little more circulation for that as things get better.
Okay. I noticed in my introduction that you're affiliated with 29 libraries throughout the South Shore. What's the advantage of that type of a situation? What can I get in, let's say, a library that I can't get in this particular library? Or are they all the same?
So we partner with like other libraries so that we may not be able to hold everything, but being partners with another library, they may have items to kind of fill in the gaps, but we have a limited supply of certain items. So there might be a popular book and another library would share that and vice versa. Whatever copy we have, that goes to Stoughton residents at a priority kind of deal. Whether it's books, movies, video games, those kind of things.
Yeah, I noticed that you've got a pretty efficient system in there. My wife was looking for a particular book and it wasn't available in Stoughton, but you folks ordered it from another library, and when it came in, you got in contact with my wife and she got what she was looking for. That's pretty efficient and nice.
Yeah, and it could be by
It's a
phone,
great
could be by
service.
email. Yeah, I mean, our collection, when the Old Colony Network started, each library kind of focused on something, and we've continued that we have the largest play collection and literature collection in the network, and we have about 2,000 cookbooks. So pretty much any kind of cookbook we would want, whether it's holiday cookbooks, which we have on display now, any kind of ethnic food, diet food, vegetarian, cakes. I have a lot of cake books.
It sounds like something I could get involved with. I have to learn how to turn the stove on first.
And also Christine's outreach collection, we have a really extensive large print collection and audiobook collection. So those may be things that people at other libraries, don't have. So they lend from us. And I like to say that Stacy and I have a stellar picture book collection too. We've really highlighted ordering and updating that during the pandemic. That was one of the things we really focused on, and getting more diverse characters and diverse authors in there. So our patrons seem to be really happy with that. And also, as part of the OCLN, we lend back and forth, but there's also a site called the Commonwealth Catalog, where if there's something that's a little bit more obscure, like sometimes people come in looking for a textbook or a really older title, we're able to lend things from any of the other libraries in Massachusetts, as long as that item is available at the owning library. So we can get things from the Boston Public Library or Eastern Nazarene College, so it really opens up what we can offer the patrons if they're looking for something that's a little bit harder to find.
Okay.
Right.
Are you tied in with local organizations? Are there local organizations that help to support the library?
We have a lot of organizations that we work with. In general, we apply for a grant every year for the local cultural council, so the Mass Cultural Council. So that's that's one of our main ones that we work with every year. They give us funding to offer programs to benefit the patrons of Stoughton. In the children's room, we work with a lot of different community groups. Right now, we're working with Oasis, which is our town prevention department. Stacy and I just had a story time to talk about medicine safety with preschoolers. This is a grant that they got recently to help, focus on prevention with the really young, which really hasn't been focused on too much before. So we're really happy to be partnering with them. They also were able to give us some funding to purchase books on that topic across all of our departments. And we work with the Boston Bruins for our summer reading program. They're one of our sources of funding, as well as the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. And we do a pajama drive every year with an organization called Cradles to Crayons, who it's a pajama drive that benefits, homeless and needy children in Massachusetts. But I feel like the list is really long, and I'm probably forgetting something.
We should mention SOLA. We're very grateful for them. SOLA is the Support Our Library Association. They are generously fund our summer reading programs, many other programs, things that the library needs. They're always there to support us. We work very closely with many town organizations, the Stoughton Schools we've already mentioned, the Stoughton Rec Department, the Stoughton Council on Aging with Christine. So we're really lucky this town, all of the departments pull together and, try to make the best community that we can. But in general, we do have a lot of community partnerships. We're really lucky that so many people in our town are passionate. They will come in and do story times. We just had a Native American story time. We're having a Hanukkah story time. So we try to bring in, as many people to share their viewpoints as possible.
And it's really nice when that kind of our departments cross over, because the way we did the Native American story time was one of Christine's patrons is a Wampanoag Native American. And so she was talking to Christine about, I'd like to kind of do something for the library, for children. And Stacy and I were like, this is right, up our alley, what we're trying to focus on. This is Native American Heritage Month. So that worked out really well that Christine put us in contact with her, and we were able to have a really successful program where she talked about her heritage and read a story to the kids, showed some artifacts. So that was really cool. And we have something right now. We're working with the Knights of Pythias, which is a local organization. They are donating 6 Kindle Fires to the children's department that we're going to do a Fire Up Your February program. So all the kids that are in grades 1, 2, and 3, there'll be 2 winners per grade where they can enter if they read one book or just reading a few minutes during vacation week, they can enter to win one of these Kindle Fires. So that's a really generous offering we have through the Knights of Pythias. And we also work with the Moms Club every year too, the local MAVE group, it's called, for a backpack drive.
Very nice.
And Roy, I just wanted to add to a huge partner with me, obviously the Council on Aging and the Stoughton Housing Authority. I've been really, really fortunate with Ann Sullivan and all the other people that work there as far as partnering on programs and getting people, out of their apartments and into the community rooms and really to socialize and have library programs there. So that's been huge.
I also wanted to mention Father Bill's in Mainspring, one of the, they really help folks that are on the edges of society or, are having trouble and or with homelessness. We will having a drive where we're collecting clothing and other items here at the library and throughout the area, because they serve the South Shore, and libraries are getting more and more involved with helping the homeless folks.
Very good.
And
What about
at the high
fundraising? Are you folks still fundraising?
So mostly the fundraising is done through SOLA. They really support us. They take care of us. A lot of that's done through them. We do a lot of drives, like we mentioned. So we kind of take care of other people as much as possible. Father Bill just got mentioned. I know Christine was doing a sock drive in honor of Gladys Berkowitz, who just passed away recently. She was a great person in the town who wanted to make sure everybody was taken care of. Like the backpack drive we do with May, the PJ drive in February. So outside fundraising is usually taken care of, but we try to give back to the community as much as possible by being a place that people can bring things. We have a food box actually that every week we people can bring food, and we make sure it gets out there to people that need it most. So
Right.
Yeah,
food
that's
pantry.
the Stoughton Food Pantry, which is always, filled. They come once a week to get that. And I just wanted to mention about SOLA too, our library association. They're always looking for new members to help with the fundraising that they do. And I believe they have their own website and Facebook page. So if anybody wants to look that up, they should be able to do that easily.
Who's the head
Not
of
to be
that?
overlooked. I was just going to say, not to be overlooked, they did a huge amount of fundraising to help get this building built and outfitted.
Oh, yeah,
So a big shout out to SOLA.
right. Who's the head of that particular organization?
Right now it's Lynn Jardin.
Okay. The after school setup for kids, they have programs after school that they can take part in.
yes, so with the middle school, high school, we have the teen area that opens after school up through about 5 o'clock. And then we have events like through the Teen Volunteer Council, or another outside vendor will come to do the program. And I wanted to expand upon one of the collaborations we're doing with the high school is where I'm working with Teresa Neary to get library cards, like do a library card drive to help get the kids cards for the library. So
Is there a cost for a library cards,
the library
No
card
cost.
is
or is it free?
Public library, free to all.
Okay,
Nothing, we don't charge for anything here in the library, not for programs, not for materials. No, that's,
And there's a couple ways they can get library cards. They can come in and get a library card. You just need to show an ID with your address on it. And you can also do it online. So we have a link on our website for that, and also through the OCLN website, and they could get an e-card. So when they do an e-card, if you're trying to get a card at 10 o'clock at night and we're not open, you can go online and open an e-card, and it's available for use immediately. And then they just have to stop into the library and get the physical card when they have time.
okay. I noticed in
And
my
they-
notes that there's 2 words there, community service. What's that about?
All right. So with the community service, the teens, they can gain the experience through the Teen Volunteer Council, and they can also, there's a couple opportunities with children's as well. So if they're interested in volunteering, they can come in and fill out the form. They just need their parent or guardian to sign off on it to get permission, and then they're welcome to join our volunteer programs. So.
Okay. You guys are lucky. You got a beautiful facility there, and I hope it's that the citizens in the community do take advantage of it.
And we also have,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. With
No.
their library card, we have 2 databases that are kind of similar, like to Amazon Kindle or Audible, which our version is Overdrive and Hoopla. So they're able to get books, like ebooks and audiobooks that you could even put on your phone, you could put it on your tablet, and you can even use it through Amazon, and we can help you get started with that if that's of interest.
So in other words, if I had a book that I wanted to get electronically, I could just order it and then use my Kindle or whatever I have to read it?
Yes, so, and we can help get started with that too. It's sometimes one has the item like an ebook and the other might have the audiobook. So it's nice to have both of them. And again, that's another great reason why we're part of like Old Colony Library Network, is that we can share books through that as well. So we have more options.
Yeah, I use the Hoopla and the Libby apps myself all the time. I have a 6-year-old, so Hoopla is great for more media, so music, and you'll find like new music on there too, and movies. And I use Libby more for, the audiobooks. I'll listen in my car while I'm driving. So if, there's people that like those, but I also have a Kindle and I use the ebooks, and it's really easy to use. But like Lauren said, we're happy to, get people started with that. We have information on how to download the apps here at the library. And we usually have someone available that can help patrons with that. And we have a lot of databases too that are available through our website. I know Josh kind of touched on some of the ones that he offers. But the children's department, we have quite a few, and some of our favorites are Scholastic Book Flicks, which pairs an animated storybook with a nonfiction title. And also we have Little Pim, which is a language learning database specifically for the preschool age. There's 12 languages that children can choose from, and it will take them step by step through, like a curriculum that's geared towards that age range, and they can learn another language. We also have an adult version of that called Mango. There's a lot more languages in the adult version than in the children's version. And as far as research, we have the Gale databases through the state. So if, children or even adults need to research a particular topic, they can use that to get for their research.
Yeah, that gets used a lot. And also Consumer Reports, which we are one of the, not all libraries have that, but if you have a Stoughton card, even at home, you can get onto Consumer Reports, and whether you're shopping for a car or refrigerator or whatever, it's always a popular magazine item, but now the database is even better. So,
do you have facilities there for small meetings, small card games, small Scrabble games?
it's funny you should mention Scrabble.
Huh?
Every Thursday afternoon, we have Scrabble, drop-in Scrabble here up in our training room up on the top floor.
Okay.
And we do have groups that meet here. We even have the Stoughton tap dancing club who come here every Wednesday night at 5 o'clock and practice and keep us on our toes, if you will.
Oh, there you go. I should register for that one. That would be a good one.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, a lot of people would like to see that. Not this week. Not this week. Yeah, 'cause I was up there for several, before the pandemic hit. I was up there on Thursdays trying to win at Scrabble, and just mediocre player, I guess. But it was fun. Are there other organizations or other clubs that, yeah, Chris?
Oh, I just wanted to add, Roy, one of the ways that I bring programs to, offsite is I have a low vision Scrabble game. So it's actually black and white, and the tiles with the letters are bigger. And I bring that to senior. I've done it a lot with the senior housing, the Stoughton Housing Authority at like La Civita Court. I bring that and we have a game day for the residents. But all the games I have are either large type or for low vision.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I'm just thinking they're seniors, when they retire and they have nothing to do, do they come into the library and offer their knowledge to youngsters, let's say? You have anything like that?
Well, we do have some senior volunteers. I'm not sure what the status of that program is since we've reopened with the pandemic, but we had a very strong group of senior volunteers that were working, to do shelf reading and help us, maintain a collection. So that was something that they were working on. But we also have a program in the children's department that we've done every summer to keep the kids reading throughout the summer, to prevent, what we call summer setback, which is when they're not, in school. Sometimes you see that summer slide, but so to keep them reading throughout the summer, we have a program called Reading Buddies. And again, we didn't have that this past year, but the previous summer and all, I think 4 or 5 summers before, we've done that. And what we do is we pair a volunteer with a child who's, in grades, I think is it grades 4 and up, Stacy? I can't remember. Maybe it's even younger than that. But we have adult volunteers that work with the kids, and they just basically take turns reading together. And it's a really popular program. We always have a waiting list for it. So, and we have a lot of senior volunteers that do that program.
Very nice. How has the library changed the services throughout the pandemic to the present day?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on that a little bit with, doing the curbside pickup and the printing pickup.
What's the curbside pickup? Explain that.
Yeah, so while we were closed to the public, we were doing curbside pickup, which was basically, the patrons would call and request a book or a DVD or whatever library material it was, and we would bag it up for them. And we had several carts out front of the library. So during, business hours where they could come and just pick up their books. So it kind of required a lot more work on the circulation staff end, which is why I kind of gave them a shout out earlier, because there was a lot more involvement than, a patron coming into the library and just checking their book out. So they really worked hard to get that going. We had a lot of people that used it. So that was basically our curbside pickup, is that your materials were ready for you to grab and go, which was really nice and convenient. I know some people wish we were still doing that. And we were also doing that with printing. So a lot of the times patrons needed something printed. That's why they come into the library, but where we weren't open, we were doing their printing for them, and we weren't charging for that during that time. Right. Now we aren't offering those services because the patrons can come in. We're open our full hours again. But that's pretty much what curbside pickup was. And, one of the other changes that we saw was the virtual programming. We really had a lot of virtual programs during the pandemic. And now, even though we are getting back into our in-person programming, we're still doing virtual options because some people feel more comfortable still with a virtual option. And we've even found that some programs people prefer to have virtually. There's, definitely something easier about that, for at least for our population in the children's department. Parents that are working prefer our pajama story time virtually. We've noticed that. So it's at 6:30 usually in the evening. The kids wear their pajamas. We get them ready for bed by reading some calming stories and doing some calming songs. And it's a lot easier for parents just to do that from the comfort of their own home and be able to get the kids right to bed afterwards than coming into the library. So that's one of the ones we think we're going to be keeping, as a virtual program. So, you see some changes that are good now that we're able to do this virtual programming.
I think at the other end of the age spectrum, a lot of the programs that I run for adults are attended by seniors. And, especially the film program, popular with seniors, but also some of the programs we're going to continue to offer on Zoom, even if people are coming in person. So if you can't drive at night, we can still have it on Zoom. We're also trying to record more of the programs and put them up on the website when possible. We should have some of the local history programs up on the website pretty soon.
In our book club, the adult book club that we started at the beginning of the pandemic, virtually, the major portion of the group wants to keep that virtual as well. And that's the first Wednesday of the month at 7. And the book selected the month before. And it just seems like people like being able to just clean up their dinner and then, open up their laptop and discuss the book instead of, leaving their home, like Amy was saying about the pajama story time, almost the same type of thing.
With the teen programs, we've been offering the option to be in person or at home. And for example, the last one we did with painting, a good chunk of them preferred to be at home. So, and then for the Intro to Hip Hop, which is our Mass Cultural Grant for this year, that one's going to be a hybrid, but most teens so far have preferred to be in person. So it depends on the program and the comfort level.
Oh, very good. Josh, I have to thank you very much for assembling a great staff people that it sounds like an exciting place to work. You love your public, and it shows in the what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a bunch of smiling faces, and it just shows that you guys are great. And I'm really glad we were able to line you up. It took a little while to do so, but
Well, we love to serve the community, and we want you to come on in if you feel safe. Otherwise, order books or materials online. You know, the library has always been the community center, really, for Stoughton, whether it's for programming or for a place to visit. And we'd like to continue to be that. So welcome one, welcome all.
yeah, when you're talking about a safe facility, and sure, with the renovation, they installed the right kind of ventilating, and you guys don't
Right.
have to worry about that nasty disease that's been running around. But I want to thank you all for coming on the show. I've learned a lot, and I hope everybody who is watching also learned as much. And if they're not participating in the facility, they should get down there and enjoy it. And I thank you all very much for being part of the show. And we'll see you again. This is Roy Cohen saying thanks and bye-bye.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My
Appreciate it.
pleasure. Bye-bye.